What's up, y'all? It's me, it's your boy Asmongold, and today I'm going to show you guys how to effectively and efficiently gear for Proving Grounds. Now, this is going to be information that's useful for people doing Endless mode, Gold mode, or honestly even Silver. Now, first thing you guys need to know is that Proving Grounds no longer scales your character down and your item level down. They actually scale the mobs up to your item level, so you go in there with like 680 item level. The mobs are going to be scaled up to somebody who's 680 item level. And so this is very interesting, and it also still allows you to do a couple of things and make things a little bit easier for yourself, and that's what we're going to be talking about. Now, it also has a floor, and so it does not scale mobs below 615 average item level, and any slot that you don't have something that's at least 600 item level, it just assumes that it's 600 item level. And so, like, let's say, for example, like your character isn't wearing pants, like I'm not wearing pants, it's not going to matter. It's still going to say, the game is still going to register it as being 600 item level. And so there's no trying to unequip your rings or something like that, because that's something that I would have done on beta, and y'all probably would have seen a video about it. I didn't even think of it, but it's something you could do, and you can't even do it. They're already on top of it. So don't even think about doing that. Anyway, the second thing that y'all need to know is that there's a gradation between how well or how much it scales up and down depending on what slot of item it is. So obviously weapon is the biggest, most important slot, right? And so if you have a good weapon, it's going to scale mobs a lot higher than if you have a good ring. And so there's a gradation for this as well. So like, let's say good weapon is the biggest indicator of like how much things are scaled. And then after that, it's like probably the chest, helm, and leggings probably, and then maybe trinkets, and then at the end it's going to be like necklaces and rings. Okay, and so this is something that you guys need to know because it's going to be really efficient or really important in like knowing how you kind of want to gear your character. Now there's going to be there's really two main ways of gearing your character. Should you gear your character for high end, for like a high item level, or should you gear it for low item level? And that depends on what spec that you're playing. And the way that you want to determine whether you should play for high or low item level is the first thing we're going to look at low item level. Now, at low item level, you want to go ahead and you want to look on the challenge mode leaderboards. And what that's going to tell you is challenge modes are obviously scaled you down to 630. And I just want to say something right now before I forget. Tertiary stats and sockets don't work in Proving Grounds, okay? I just didn't want to forget that. They just don't work, okay? Same as in challenge modes, they just don't work. Anyway, so you go on to challenge mode leaderboards and you see, what are you going to see? Hunters, survival hunters. You're going to see arms warriors. So what does that tell you? Well, probably if you're playing an arms warrior and like you have 68 item level, you're going to be doing better if you get worse gear. Sorry. If you get yourself down to that 630, 615 item level, because arms warriors perform very well with low gear. However, if you're playing a spec that's high, that scales very well with gear, and so examples of that is like, I don't know, like Mage like just is the best at, I mean, apparently I was looking at the logs and everything, like Mage is just the best at all gear levels. This is completely unfair, but the point is, like let's say Fury Warrior. Fury Warrior scales very well with gear. And so what you want to do if you're a Fury Warrior is you want to get the best gear possible. And so if you're a Fury Warrior and you're going in in the Proving Grounds, you want to get the highest item level gear possible, assuming that it's itemized correctly for your spec, for your spec. And so make sure like for Fury Warriors, obviously crit mastery, okay. And so the way that you can tell if your spec scales very well with gear, and a very easy way to tell, this is not like of course 100% accurate, but it's a good indicator. You go to Simulation Craft, and I'm going to have all these websites and all that in the description. And there's going to be some links, and it's going to show like simulations of, I guess like a patchwork DPS or like single target DPS at item level. I think it's like 655, 670, and 695, or some sort of like, there's 3 different ranks. And also you can look at AoE DPS and everything like that. But you especially want to look at the ranks, and you want to open up all 3 of them and see if your class goes up or down. Okay, and if your class goes up, that means it scales very well with gear, and if your class goes down, that means it doesn't scale that well with gear. And the odds are, if your class is going down, you want to go with a lower item level build, and if your class is going up, then you want to go with a higher item level build. So guys, that's some information that everybody needs to know about, and some good items that you want to look at trying to get is maybe PvP gear, because that's 620. Even Aspirant's gear is 600, and so you can do all that stuff. And the mobs don't really start to scale up until you get to about 615 average item level on your character, and each individual piece can go all the way down to 600 before it actually starts. It just doesn't really matter. And so 600 is where you want to be at least for each item, and you want to have at least a 615 or pretty close to that item level for for your average item level if you're playing a spec that doesn't scale very well with gear. And I mean, if you're playing a spec that scales very well with gear, that is really kind of more up to you, and there's a lot of, I guess, individual customization, and that depends on your spec, your preferences, and everything else like that. So anyway, guys, I wanted to share some of this information with you guys because I've been doing a lot of tests on Proving Grounds today and doing some reading, and so I wanted to let you guys know what it is, okay? And so hopefully this helps, and that's pretty much all I got. Thanks for watching, and like, comment, subscribe.